Nina Dobrev, vampires and the supernatural are such a massive part of popular culture these days. What do you think it is about that genre that has really hit and become so big?
The thing is, it's one of those things that is very subjective, and the more we get asked that question, it's vampires, whether or not they're temporary, like right now it's just a craze, or it's something ongoing, or people have little or very much interest. It's a hard question to answer because everyone has a different opinion, and my opinion is that the vampire craze never really, the whole genre, the interest in vampires never really goes away or goes in and out, because vampires themselves are so timeless, and they transcend time, and they live forever, and there's something about that people appeal to. There's something about being here and being able to live through all the different eras and get to experience life and death and love multiple times over and make mistakes, but have the chance to actually redeem yourself and get a do-over in ways. There's something very interesting about that, and at the same time, there's also something very lonely about that. So there's so many different things, and there's so many different things that you can love or hate about being a vampire, or being in love with a vampire, or even the danger of it. The fact that someone we've all been in love, we've all had infatuations, but for someone to love you with equal measure as their urge to kill you is something different that we've never experienced, but it's just the stakes are a lot higher, and the risks are higher, and it's mysterious. So there's a lot of different, I could go on for days and talk about this, but yeah.
Well, speaking of the fan support, we're an awards website, so I just had to jump in with this one. Just a few weeks ago, People's Choice Awards, your fans were so loyal that not only did they make sure you got on the ballot at the last minute, but they propelled you all the way to the win. What was that whole experience like for you?
Nina Dobrev.
I feel like I'm going to break, and I'm not going to give them that satisfaction.
And your choice for favorite TV drama actress is Nina Dobrev.
Yeah, it definitely was a really, really unique, cool experience, because I don't know, we have so many mediums now. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have all these ways to get for the fans to be able to reach us, and for us to be able to talk to our fans, and I've seen through my Twitter and now through the People's Choice Awards how passionate and how committed they really are, and how much they really love the show. For what I was told for years, they've always had the option, once people are nominated for the People's Choice Awards, for you to also nominate someone yourself and suggest someone that you think should be nominated. But it's never been used before. It's never been nominated from a write-in, and my fans were so ruthless and sort of passionate and enthusiastic about having me nominated that they wrote in so many times. I can't remember. I talked to one of the people after the fact, and they said millions upon millions. Hopefully, all my Twitter followers wrote in so much that they couldn't ignore it, and then I won. And that's the best kind of recognition you can possibly get, because we do this for our own fulfillment, to fulfill our artistic drives and our passions, but then we also do it because we have an audience, and we have people who care and who love and watch and feel what we feel, and feel the characters and their relationships, and those people they're very vocal, and they have shown through this specific instance how powerful their voice is, and I think that is one of the coolest things about it, that especially for youth, to show them that their voice actually means something, and that something they did and something that they worked hard for and were passionate about, there was actually an end result and something that came of it. And selfishly, that result benefited me very much, and I was my ego was boosted a little bit because of it. No, I'm kidding. But it was cool. It was really great. it's cool to have that support. It's almost like your family. I mean, they're like our family. They see us often, and they love us, and we love them, and so you celebrate with your family.
Is it important to the cast and crew that maybe the show receives some recognition from the peer voted awards shows like the Emmys? It has such high production values. It's so beautifully shot and well made, and so far it's been ignored. Does that ever come up?
I wouldn't say ignored. I mean, it's one of those things that the show. I agree with you. We have some of the best people behind our show involved, and creatively, the writers are so talented, and they come up with these incredible storylines, and the show is almost broken through and started a new. Every episode, there's not one but multiple cliffhangers. There's comedy and drama and all these different elements, and it is a very high concept show, and it's beautifully shot, and the crew works long hours tirelessly, and you know, we have some pretty incredible people on board working and doing their best, and I think they're coming up with a great result, and our show we're really proud of it. And yeah, I mean, it's always great to get recognition, but it's not something that's a necessity, you know. It's not why we do it, but at the same time, it is nice to recognize that what you do is, to be recognized as something what you do, that people pay attention. And I think part of it definitely is the fact that it's, you know, it's not a younger audience, because our demographic is mainly 18 to 35 women and some men, but it's just because it's a vampire show. I mean, Twilight, for example, if we're going to compare it to in the film world, hasn't been nominated for Oscars or Golden Globes or any of that kind of stuff. Sometimes the genre may give you a disadvantage, but at the same time, hopefully, if people are looking at it from a different perspective and looking at just the cinematography or just the individual performances and the types of things that people have to go through, that they're looking at that, and that they're recognizing that portion of it.
So talk a little bit about shooting on location in Georgia so many months out of the year, and is it kind of a grueling shoot since you have to do so many night shoots?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have our work cut out for us. It's I mean, we knew going from the beginning that, you know, it's a vampire show, so a lot of the time, and luckily we have daylight ranks, so some of the vampires can walk during the day,
yeah.
I being one of them, but the show looks better at night. Period, end of story. We've tried to do it where we do a lot of day shoots so that we could save the crew and we could save ourselves and get to sleep at night for once as opposed to during the day. And note to anyone who ever does any kind of night shoots, get some good blackout curtains because you need them. It just looks better. Everything looks better. The mood, the environment, the scary, gritty aspect, the fact that whenever shots are handheld and something's out of focus or something's a little lower light, everything just looks better and looks more gritty and dark and sexy when it's darker. So we try to make it look its best and keep the air and the ambiance the same. But but living in Georgia, on the other hand, unlike LA or New York or the bigger cities, we sort of feel like it's our little bubble and we have our lives, but it's a little bit more, not tame, but it's not like there's a premiere every other week or an event or something. That once we're in Georgia, we work, we do our thing on set, and then we go home and we have our like private, simple kind of, for me, at least, relaxed lives, and that part of it's great. I feel like if we shot in LA or New York or something, we'd definitely be exhausted and we wouldn't find time to preserve ourselves and recover from the night shoots. Whereas in Atlanta, it's easier for me.
You have to take on 2 roles on this show. That's no easy feat, I guess. And that didn't start off that way on the show, but as it's progressed, I think you've really kind of fell into both roles really comfortably. But tell us about how difficult it is to bring 2 different characters to life.
I auditioned for the show. I just moved from Canada to try out pilot season for the first time and hope that something happens. And Vampire Diaries was one of the first kind of auditions, and I just kind of fell into the character. It just felt very, very close to home, and I related to Elena. And she just was a troubled girl who had gone through heartache and heartbreak and lost her parents and had all these terrible things happen to her, and then she was swept off her feet. But when she met Stefan, and she was just a girl trying to move on. And then one thing which was really cool, actually, Julie and Kevin, when they came to me, when we figured out that I was going to be playing Catherine later on in the season, they eased me into it. They helped me discover the other role and sort of not overwhelm me by creating this character in one day. There was a few scenes, and then the character kept developing more and more, and I got to really be a different person, because that's the thing about acting in general. Forget about this show, forget about movies, forget about anything in general. But the reason why we do this is because, me personally, I wanted to be different people. I wanted to step in other people's shoes and do different things, and create characters and roles, and just sort of be a chameleon in a sense. And it's rare that you can do that in the run of one show, and luckily I had this opportunity to do it with two characters, and so it was really important for me to make Catherine very different from Elena, and have her be a completely different person. So to do that, I tried to make it as though I was on a different show whenever I was Catherine. I had to dress differently, I had to talk differently, I had to think differently. I even would go as far as to say that even the crew members who are my family, and I know them so well, I had to kind of change my demeanor around them, because I couldn't believe myself as someone else if they didn't believe that I was someone else. And everybody, whenever I'd walk on the set as Catherine, would say, you're almost, I was more playful, if you will. Like, I would get away with saying different things and being a little spunkier and a little sassier and almost a little inappropriate at times. But that's part of the process, and that's what you have to do, and you can't apologize for it. But it's definitely a juggling act, and trying to do that with the two characters and try to stay sane. And sometimes I'll have days where people would think I was becoming bipolar or moody, or working on a show for this long, you get to know people, and they get to know a lot about you. And there's good days and there's bad days, and it's definitely like a roller coaster ride.
Well, listen, the Vampire Diaries is currently airing season 3 on the CW, but there's a few episodes left until the highly anticipated finale. So here's your chance, and here's our chance for a scoop. Just tell us about everything that happens, so that we can break the news to the whole world. Go for it.
I'll tell you what I can, because otherwise I will be fired.
Season 3 will be your final season if you give us too much.
Exactly, they'll kill Elena, but there's always Catherine, so.
That's right.
It's, this season, that's what I admire about the show so much. You never really get to, you're always surprised. Like, even we watch it and we read it, and every episode is so different. There's like cliffhangers, and as soon as you get comfortable in one relationship, someone dies or someone becomes bad or something happens. And so this season, and as we near the end of this season, the season 1 finale was one of the most memorable for me and for everyone that I've ever spoken to. And now I think, we're giving season 1 finale a run for its money with what's happening at the end of this one. We're actually starting to shoot it this Friday, and it's filled with, I'm so excited for people to see it. I don't want to give away too much, but Elena, she's sort of been back and forth between the brothers, and she has this, she can't make a decision. She's had to make so many decisions, and she's lost so many people in her life, and she just can't bear to lose anyone else. And now she's kind of coming to a head, and she has to sort of decide between her brothers, sorry, not her brothers, the boys in her life, and try to save everyone, and everyone's trying to save her, and there's sort of like a pseudo new villain that's coming in, a new threat, if it's even possible. There's so many threats all the time, but everyone sort of teams up to save each other because all hell breaks loose. And I'm gonna go as far as to say that not one but a few people die in the finale, and
Nice.
and it's a really sad, really hard episode to shoot, but it's a really gut-wrenching sort of battle. People are going to be completely blindsided, and halfway through the episode, what you think is happening just completely switches as usual. And we've been doing 4 weeks of underwater rehearsals. I'm getting to use my PADI certification.
Wow.
For work, which is really cool. And it's going to be, like I said, I mean, as you asked me earlier, just all the crew members and all the lighting and how beautifully it's shot. The production value of what we do it's pretty significant, and it's pretty. We prep for 4 weeks at a time, especially for this episode. 4 weeks we've been prepping for this, and we've been doing rehearsals, and we put a lot of thought into it and a lot of love, and we're dealing with life or death, and there's just a lot going on, and hopefully we have a long journey ahead of us to discover more of it.